Welcome to Self-Discovery Media Network, formerly known as Self-Discovery Radio. Each week we bring you illuminating shows from those making a difference in the lives of others. They've taken their own journey. They're here to share their skills, their wisdom to help you on yours. You can see more about us at selfdiscoverymedia.com, and please listen to our wonderful collection of shows. Our next show is...
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the world according to GUS. I'm your host, Charles Eduardos. Who's GUS? God, Universe, Spirit. And here is where we're open to it all. Hear it all, learn, grow, awaken that sleeping giant within. And today... I hope I don't disappoint you, but you're stuck with me. No guest. I just want to, from time to time, do a program by myself, do what I feel really called to do, and that is some teaching, share some things that hopefully will awaken things in you, awaken your potential. Maybe share some things with you that you already know, but share it from a different perspective that even broadens your base of knowledge and wisdom. So this is what we're going to do in our program today, and I'm basically going to be sharing with you pretty much the basis of my victorious living system. And I guess we would title today, Creating Your Brave New World, Living in Purpose and Passion. That's just an exciting thing. Create. You mean I can create my own world? Well, you do. You basically, the world as you experience is what you have created. And you want to live in purpose and passion. Why are you here? My purpose in life is to awaken and to help as many people as I can awaken to their power, their potential, and to live passionately in that. If you're doing what you love, there's passion there. There's energy there. So create your brave new world. Again, you are the creator of how you experience life. That's right. How you experience what happens. Now, this isn't about blame. This isn't about, oh, you mean it's my fault that my life is just not going the way I wanted to. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is there are some things inside you in how you perceive, how you experience, how you respond to what is out there that brings about how you experience life. And you can change that by changing a perspective, changing as they say in the movie industry, POV, point of view. Your point of view, how you look at yourself. What do you believe about yourself? So you are the creator of how you experience life. So today I'm going to kind of lay a foundation around what all that really means, okay? So let's take a look at this. This is a metaphor for your mind. And what we're looking at, of course, is an iceberg. And just like an iceberg, there's part above the surface that we see, we're aware of, and part beneath the surface that we're not aware of. So I know you're brilliant people, all that tune into the world according to GUS, so you pick it up. The conscious mind is represented by the part that is above the waterline, the part that we are conscious of and see, and that's approximately 10 to 12%. And then, of course, the part that we don't see, down beneath, the subconscious mind, which produces, it's about 88 to 90% of our total mind. But now within all of that, subconscious mind. There's a lot going on down there. There's autonomic functions, sympathetic, parasympathetic, the things like, you don't have to be consciously aware of what's going on in your body with the blood circulating, your breathing. These are things that will happen automatically. But now breath, for example, breath is something that you can notice how you're breathing now. Bring your attention to your breath and notice what happens there. So again, as we become more aware of some of the subconscious stuff that we really can control, and there are studies now that even show where people, through awareness, lower their blood pressure, decrease their heart rate. So yes, we can bring our attention to certain things and improve the quality even of our physical health. Wow, go figure. But then we have this part here, the critical mind. That's partially above the waterline, so the critical mind is partially in the conscious area and partially in the subconscious. And it's that subconscious portion of the critical mind that can produce havoc for us sometimes. The critical mind is developed between birth and approximately 8 years of age, 8 to 9. And this is where we basically establish and discover right from wrong, good from evil, all of these types of things, how to get on in the world, how to get on with people, how we communicate. And in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, there is a presupposition that you cannot not communicate. You will communicate even through your body language, your facial expression, even when you're not speaking words. And interestingly enough, sometimes your body language contradicts your words. Some people will say, yeah, I'm with you, while they're shaking their head from side to side. They're shaking their head no, and they're saying, yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. There's a number of ways that you can read that. And pretty much as you kind of work with a person, and we did this, we learned some things in interrogation when I was a police officer, watching eye accessing cues. Where do the eyes go? Are they going in visual remembered or visual constructed? If their eyes move in the direction of visual constructed, then maybe they're making it up as they go. They're creating visually what they want to say happened, and it wasn't actually what did happen. So critical mind is pretty much the area that Victoria's Living System works in, because here's a fact: 95% of our behavioral responses are subconscious. They are programmed back to the days of the development of our critical mind in our youth. And St. Paul said some words in his first letter to the church at Corinth. He said, when I was a child, I thought like a child, and I acted like a child, I behaved like a child. But when I grew up, when I came to maturity, I put childish things away. Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that we developed back in the days of the development of our critical mind that are still functioning in the same way in our adulthood, and that can cause us many problems, but we're not even aware of it. It's going on, it's coming out of the subconscious part of our critical mind, and we don't really have conscious awareness until we awaken. And sometimes our awakening comes by somebody calling us out. They call us on our stuff and say, wait a minute, And if we are more open-minded, we'll see it and say, oh, wow, yeah, that's not really working for me. The old Dr. Phil question, how's that working for you? Well, it's not really. So The Buddha said these words, "All that I am is the result of what I have thought." Really, thought. And we don't just think, we think, feel. For every thought, there's a feeling. For every feeling, there's an associated thought. And our thoughts layer. We don't just have a thought. We layer our thinking. One thought leads to another. They call it in the East monkey mind, because our mind's just, and we're layering, and sometimes we can think ourselves into a higher frame, a higher state of mind, or we can layer, and unfortunately, all too many people tend to layer into a downward, to where they finally said, "Good Lord, is this as good as it gets?" But again, we can, with awareness, begin to direct our thinking and feeling. Doc Childrey, the founder of the Heart Math Institute, said, "If you want to feel good, then feel good feelings." And there's a lot to that. Sit and meditate on that one for a bit, and even experiment with it. I think you'll discover some amazing stuff about what that's really saying. And again, remember, all that I am is the result of what I have thought. Now, people will offer you all kinds of things to think about, and will call you some choice names or have some choice things to say about you. You don't necessarily have to own it, right? Just because somebody invites you to a pity party doesn't mean you have to go. My mom used to say, just because someone invites you to a party, you don't have to accept the invitation. You're not obligated necessarily to go to. And some people will invite you to some really non-resourceful parties. Yeah? So now here's the truth of it. Everything that we do is for one of two reasons. We want to experience pleasure, or we want to avoid pain. And that's in everything. Now, there are people in the world that take an oath to potentially experience pain, mental pain, emotional pain, physical pain, and even death, in order that other people might experience the pleasure of a peaceable neighborhood, a peaceable country. Yes, I'm talking about the men and women that serve in our military service, the men and women that serve in law enforcement, our firefighters, our EMTs, first responders, our people that serve in hospitals and in care homes for people. They, particularly our military and first responders, they put themselves many times in harm's way, but they want to avoid the pain of seeing you going through an unfortunate situation, maybe of being robbed or being attacked, domestic abuse. And there are many fine men and women that I personally know from the armed forces and from law enforcement, my time in law enforcement and military, that they go through the potential of pain in order to ensure the pleasure of others. So it basically still works. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not masochistic. They want to experience pleasure, and they want, we get a call on a domestic dispute. We don't want to go in and have to fight anybody, or unfortunately in some situations lives are taken. But that's not the intent. The intent is a peaceable resolution to all things. But just in our everyday, day-to-day life, everything is about pain or pleasure, and how that pleasure and pain is framed. Now, there are some people that we would classify sometimes in psychology, they might be classified as sociopathic, that experience pleasure in causing other people pain. That's a little, for me, that's a little weird, but it happens. So again, it all comes down to experiencing pleasure, avoiding pain. So let's kind of look at it from a normal standpoint. You are normal, right? Okay. I'm, maybe normal. Let's just having some fun. Okay, so let's look at how we navigate. Everybody navigates by maps. Some people can read maps better than other people, but whether we have a paper map or a map on our phone, and a lot of people thank the Lord for GPS on their phone now and in their car, but we all have maps that we operate from. I do a lot of work over at the Cleveland Clinic main campus, and so here's a map of Cleveland Clinic main campus, and say I park right here in parking garage BB, and I got to get over here to guest house. Where'd I go? There I am, guest house right here. I can take one of these tunnels here. This is a tunnel represented by this black line. It's actually an overhead tunnel. It goes over the street, not underground. And I can kind of navigate over to here maybe and get down and go outside and walk up 96th Street. And boom, I'm right there at guest house. So I've got a map that can help me navigate from where I am, parking garage BB, to where I want to get to, guest house. And it's kind of showing me the options that I have to get there and some landmarks. So I say, yep, I'm going the right way. But this is a map of this, which is the actual territory. There it is. And so I'm trying to get from, I think I'm looking at, there's Cryle. So, no, there's Cryle over there. So I'm parking over here and I want to get across and through here, and there's the mall that I saw on the map, and I can get all the way over here to the guest house. So map, territory, map, territory. When I look at the territory, there's things that the map doesn't have. I don't see trees. You see the trees? Trees are right there, but I don't see the trees on the map. Oh, the map is just there to help me navigate through my life. Where's he going? Territory. Now, I said everybody's got a map that they use all the time. It's your internal map of reality. And here's how that works. All that stuff from the territory, we see, visual, we hear, auditory, the horns beeping. We feel, it's nice and warm in the tunnel, and then I step outside to go up 96th Street, and it's cold outside. We smell, olfactory, when I step outside, I smell the exhaust from the vehicles. We taste. I missed going through the building and stopping at Starbucks to get a coffee. And the internal dialogue is what I was just doing about the coffee. I should have gone through the building to grab a coffee. Internal dialogue, auditory, digital. That's the territory as we sense it through our VAC system. It's called the VAC system, and that's because it's an acronym for the first three: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. But the VAC system includes the olfactory, gustatory, and the auditory, digital. Everybody tracking with me? Okay. So the input, all that is coming in, but it gets filtered because, as I was saying, with the subconscious mind, autonomic functions, all types of things are going on inside of our body. The circulation of the blood system, the blood carrying the deoxygenated blood back to the lungs to expel the carbon dioxide and bring in oxygen, and then oxygenating the blood to go back through the arterial system, the venal system, bringing the used up blood for recharging and whatnot, the food being assimilated and put into the blood system to feed the various parts of our body, the digestive process going on, the things that the various organs within our body do, the liver, the gallbladder, the kidneys, just all that stuff going on. We cannot keep up with all of the sensory inputs. So what do? We delete, we distort, and we generalize all this information. And a lot of the ways that we do the stuff that comes out of the critical mind is we have these filters, the meaning filter. Things mean one thing for one person and something else to another person, and that can be influenced by culture, by nationality, by religious beliefs. The same thing with values. They could all be influenced by various different things. Beliefs. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about money? What do you believe about the world? What do you believe about the Middle East? What do you believe about Europe? What do you believe about America, South America? What are your beliefs? How you language things. Is your language primarily hopeful, positive? Is it negative? Is it critical? Is it judgmental? What are your memories, and how do you frame those memories? What are the memories have to do with meaning frames? What are your attitudes and strategies? All these things, and even things like meta programs, which I don't have time to go into today, but we all have these meta programs. We have what is called here submodalities, but they're actually meta modalities in the movie mind that we have, because we're basically, all this stuff coming in is going in here and producing for us an internal map of reality, our internal movie, which then, from the internal representation of the input, this input over here, creates this internal representation or representation, and that produces for us our emotional states and our behaviors, how we behave in the world, the things that we do, the things that we feel. And from our emotional states and our behaviors, we then get our outcomes, how we experience our life. That's the process that we go through. How much of that process is just programmed and reactive, and again, not responsive, but is just reactive. This is what we do. The stimulus comes and the response, boom. It's very much in some instances, a knee-jerk response, right? But things are not, all this, it's not always the way it appears. Things aren't always the way they seem. Yeah? I heard a story about a person that saw this snake across the road. And they were afraid, they didn't know what kind of snake, is it poisonous, whatever. But the closer they got to it, they realized it's not a snake, because it wasn't moving. It was a rope. It was a big, large piece of rope that was just laying across the road. Things aren't always what they seem. Has that something like that ever happened to you? I'm sure, yeah. You think it's one thing and then it's not. Kind of an optical illusion. Sort of like this. Now, as I get here, I'm going to pause a minute and say, I hope I am stimulating some thought. I hope I am for some of you reinforcing things that you already know. And I hope for some of you taking it a step further what you know. I hope for some of you this may be totally new for you, but it is absolutely fascinating and you want to know more. And you can. All you have to do is contact me right here at selfdiscoverymedia.com. Go to the World According to GUS page, and you can contact me right there. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what. Ask me your questions. Give me whatever comments that you have. I am a teacher and also a perpetual student. I'm always learning because there's always discoveries being made. I am very proud to be a part of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, IONS, which was founded by astronaut Edgar Mitchell, and all kinds of things that are being discovered in consciousness studies through IONS and through Heart Math Institute and other institutes. There's constantly things that are being discovered and developed. And you can have this, what's on your screen right now, because the question that I'm going to ask you is, we have, first of all, let me point out, there's one line here, another, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines across the screen. And we could count, we can make it 9 if we talk about the top and the bottom. But now the question is, are these lines, as they go from left to right, are the lines straight and parallel? In other words, are they straight and equidistant from left to right? Do they appear to be straight and equidistant across the page? Now, of course, they look really wavy or kind of slanted, but that's an optical illusion that's created by the offset of the black and white boxes. Things aren't always what they appear. Now, if you don't believe it and you want to get a copy of this and measure it yourself with a ruler, again, just contact me through selfdiscoverymedia.com or through my Facebook fan page. All you have to do is go to Facebook and search Charles Eduardos, CHT, and you'll find my fan page. And please like my page, but request, and I will send this to you via email so that you can do the measurements yourself. But things aren't always what they seem, and we have a power within us to change the way we see things. For example, if you look at this box that's coming up here right now, there is a blue side, and I've said box, but it's a cube. You look at this cube. Where do you see the blue side? Because you can choose to see it on the front or on the back, and probably you can finagle it so you can choose to see it on the top or the bottom if you want, if you could turn the picture or whatever. But right now I'm working for, how about seeing it from the front, where this is the front right here, and this is the right side here, okay? And this is the left side here. This is kind of a transparent box, okay? Or you could see it where this is in the back, and this is the, what would that be? The right side. And this is the left side. Yeah. This is the bottom. Again, it's on the back. And actually, that's the bottom, even if you're seeing it from the front. But play with that. Are you able to switch it? And here again, I gave you how to get in touch with me. I want to see how many of you had a problem with switching it. But again, it's the power of your perception to switch how you see what you see, how you perceive what you perceive, how you choose to see the world is your choice. You have an amazing power of choice, and there is always choice. Sometimes we don't like the choices and we'll say, oh, I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. So, play with that one. And if you want a copy of this, again, reach out, selfdiscoverymedia.com and or my Facebook fan page. Contact me, or the website, victoriousliving.com. Love to having these things to kind of demonstrate this is how it works. This is what is. And when we awaken to the power that we have, that power of choice, the power to see things differently, see things in a way that is more resourceful to fit with your desired outcomes for your life. Okay, everybody tracking with me, I hope. This is, I hope it is eye-opening for some and affirming for others. But let's move forward. We want to talk about, it comes down to, we have these life scripts going back to our critical mind. And there are certain themes that sometimes emerge out of our life scripts, and sometimes those themes are not very resourceful, again, for what we say we want in our lives. We have the intention of doing and being certain things, but our attention gets diverted by some of our life scripts sometimes. And it's unfortunate, but it is a reality. And so there's a clash between our intention and our attention, which many times will stymie us, or at least slow us down, or create obstacles that need to be surmounted. And the primary obstacle is many times that life script that's working. Maybe your life script is something around neglect. Let me ask you, do you tend to feel many times unworthy of the good things life has to offer you? Do you tend to neglect yourself in the same way that you were neglected early on in your life? That could be a life script that is operating in the background in that subconscious portion of your mind. And it's affecting what's going on in your life. And it's getting in the way of your desired outcomes for your life. Maybe your life theme is abandonment. Could it be, do you tend to abandon yourself? Do you not stick up for yourself? Are you an ally to yourself in situations where it is appropriate to clearly speak or act on your own behalf? There's nothing wrong with that, but you don't. You abandon yourself. Maybe your life script has to do with abuse. If you were abused, and I faced emotional abuse from my father, but were you abused emotionally? Do you tend to pick on yourself? Be critical of yourself? Maybe you put yourself down and don't feel that you deserve love, that you don't deserve consideration or care from others. Do you allow yourself to be treated poorly emotionally by others? Do you allow them to run over your feelings? Be hysterical in your presence or critical of you? Do you beat yourself up for allowing this to happen? Do you come back after, oh, I should have stood up for myself. I should have told them this is unacceptable. So sometimes we end up abusing ourselves because that's something that was ingrained back in our development of our critical mind. Maybe rejection. How does this maybe fit? Rejection. Think about that. Are you good at finding fault with yourself? Do you unconsciously seek out experiences where you're not chosen or valued? You get rejected. Do you blame yourself for being in these situations, but you continue to find yourself drifting toward them anyway, drifting towards situations where you will be rejected? It's made you fearful maybe sometimes of even stepping out and attempting because your expectation is that you will be rejected. And then when you look at your life, you say, well, this is all I deserve. Self-fulfilling prophecy so many times at work. How about emotional suffocation? Is that maybe your life script? Were you emotionally were suffocated, or did you serve maybe as a surrogate spouse to one of your parents? Do you often feel overwhelmed by people's simple desire for contact? Are you committed to, or are you commitment phobic? You're just afraid to get into any type of a committed relationship. Do you feel frustrated in your desire for love, knowing that you need and want it, but you run from it every time it shows up because of your fear of emotional suffocation? Then there's deprivation. Do you tend to shortchange yourself? Do you do without and then feel that this is enough for you? You know, subconsciously you really want more, but you deprive yourself. Do you at the same time judge and criticize yourself for not being able to improve your situation? Again, you're at odds with yourself. You want more, but out of that old script, going back to your younger days of development of that critical mind between birth and 8 years old, there's that thing of deprivation. These are some of the scripts, and it's not that you just have one, maybe, but there may be a little bit of each of those at work. And the key to freedom, the key to the transformation is renewing your mind, awakening to the fact that, wow, this is going on. I know this is going on in the background in my mind. I've got stinking thinking, and I need to get a checkup from the neck up. Notice your internal dialogue. Notice some of the conversation that goes on inside your head all the time. And see if any of these scripts are working. And the more you bring them to your conscious awareness, the more power you have to stop these scripts and to even rewrite your script. Rewrite the movie that's going on in your mind. So how do the scripts work? Let me give you kind of an example of how this works in your mind and what happens. So I want you to describe for me a stop sign. Okay? Notice what goes on in your mind. Are you seeing the stop sign? You kind of make an internal picture of it. It's there. And so you represent it. You've seen stop signs before. You represent it in your mind. Okay, it's red, right? I've seen plenty of them. You've seen them. Red. Is that a hexagon or an octagon? It's an octagon. 8 sides, right? Count them. And it's white lettering, red background. white lettering, and believe it or not, it says stop, all capital letters, S-T-O-P, white letters, right across it, centered. And it's got a white trim. So it looks like that. Yeah, there it is. See, this is, stay with me now, this is how scripts work. We recall it. We recall the stop sign. So now let's describe a yield sign. Yield. Okay, well it says yield. Y-I-E-L-D. Big black letters. Now what's the shape? Triangle. Yeah, triangle. It's an upward pointing triangle. No, down. No, it's inverted. It's a downward pointing. Wider at the top, going down into the point. Pointing down to the ground, yield. In black letters, white background, right? So it looks like that. Yeah, see? Scripts. We've seen it before, we've experienced it, but wait a minute. This yield sign has been illegal. It was decommissioned, so to speak. I think it was 1986. I may be wrong on that. Because they went to the international signs, and the yield sign actually looks like that. It's red and white with yield on it in all caps, but it's still a triangle with a red triangle, white trim, and then a white triangle in the middle there with yield in red. So that's what, but we're operating off of the old script that we learned of this yield sign, when in fact it's this yield sign. Operating off of the old script that we had learned years ago, which is not applicable. It's become obsolete, but we're still operating on it. Wow. How many yield signs do you need to reprogram, rewrite those scripts in your life? Tracking with me? Yeah. So that's how it works. Hopefully that drives it home a little bit, because I want you to awaken to what's going on inside your internal map of reality. Sometimes we have to, as cartographers, map makers, remake that map, rewrite that map, so that we are truly getting to where we want to go. Because as we said earlier, energy flows where intention and attention goes. We have that clash because our intention, and we write out, these are my goals, this is what I want to accomplish in my life, but then our attention gets diverted by these scripts telling us that we're not worthy, that we could never expect it, that this is the best, we should be grateful for what little we have. It's these scripts that get in the way, and it causes a clash of our energy flow, and we want all of the energy of intention flowing in harmony and in the same direction as our energy of attention, our focus. This is what the victorious living system is all about. This is what the world, according to GUS, God, universe, spirit, is all about. Awakening to who we are, awakening to our God-given potential. We are one with God, with universe, with spirit, and spirit and universe and God is one with us. And we need to awaken to all this stuff coming together for the good of all. And you can find out so much more about this and other subjects right here at Self-Discovery Radio. There are many paths that all lead to the same destination. We have our founder, amazing woman, Sarah Troy, with her lovely British accent. She could talk. I could just sit there and listen to her all day long. My goodness. But Sarah had the vision of Self-Discovery Media and started out as Self-Discovery Radio, and now it has emerged into media. And who knows the height, depth, width, and breadth of what GUS is just bringing out of Sarah. And her programs are phenomenal. Her guests, she's introduced me to so many phenomenal people and given me the opportunity to be a part of this selfdiscoverymedia.com and all the things that we're doing here. Check out her program as well. Fabulous guests come on and are with her. Lennis Woods Mullins, another phenomenal woman. I'm really kind of, at the moment, the only guy, and I feel so honored to be surrounded by such amazing women that are doing such phenomenal work in the universe with God, Universe, Spirit. Lennis Woods Mullins, check her program out right here at selfdiscoverymedia.com. Diane Shaver. We did a program where all of us, with our podcast, we're on together with Sarah, and Diane Shaver does phenomenal work as well. Listen to, view her programs, and Kitty Adderley down in the Bahamas doing a phenomenal work there. Self-Discovery Radio is where, there I go, selfdiscoverymedia.com is what's happening and where it is for growth and self-development. Tap in to your untapped power right here through selfdiscoverymedia.com. So those are some of my colleagues, my partners in crime, and I am just ecstatic to be a part of such an auspicious group. Learn about how your mind works so you can begin to work your own mind. Again, contact me, selfdiscoverymedia.com, The World According to GUS, God, Universe, Spirit. I have a page there. You can catch some of the past programs, and coming up, our next program is going to feature Tammy Manzo, who is we're going to talk about Mercury's backing up. Look out. Okay, what does that mean? Well, we're talking about this upcoming Mercury retrograde, which happens with some frequency as the planets go around the sun and everything. And because of Mercury's position, it doesn't really go backwards, but it gives the appearance of going backwards to the Earth because of Mercury's orbit and the Earth's orbit and the speed of the orbits and everything. So Mercury is about to go retrograde. What might that mean to you? So we're going to explore that with Tammy Manzo coming up in our next show of The World According to GUS. And again, I so much want to hear from you. Write to us. Right there on the page, you can contact us, The World According to GUS, on selfdiscoverymedia.com or through my Facebook fan page. Look for Charles Eduardos, CHT, on Facebook. And the CHT is Certified Hypnotherapist. That's what the designation is. And from my website, victoriousliving.com. I really want to hear from you. I'd love to hear your questions. I'd love to hear your comments. I will answer you. So contact me and let's start the dialogue there. You might even want to suggest what you would like to hear us chat about here on the program. Not saying that we will, and I'll let you know if it doesn't quite fit with our particular focus. but please let me know, and I can even pass it on to some of my partners in crime, and it may work for them better than it does for the world according to GUS. But we really want to be in touch with you, and you in touch with us. It's very important to all of us here at selfdiscoverymedia.com. That being said, again, we gave you a whole lot, but it all comes down to everything that I am. And we'll just kind of go backwards here. Well, you know what? Let me just hop through a couple of these slides here when we talk about your power zone, because you do have 4 personal power zones, and it kind of works like this. Your 4 personal power zones, your internal power of thinking and feeling. You can choose how you want to think and how you want to feel. I told you, if you want to feel good feelings. That's what Doc Childry from Heart Math Institute says. Then our external powers are our behavior, how we are behaving, and our speaking, what we are saying, what we are languaging. Now, that works this way. Who is control of your personal power? So as you own your personal power zone, the world of reactivity, basically the stimulus response world, versus the choice world, the world of proactivity. In the world of reactivity, we live, act, respond as if the stimuli, the events, the people, etc., make you respond as you do mentally, emotionally, or verbally, or behaviorally. But that we don't think that in the proactive. In the choice world, it's all about how to respond, and recognize that responses operate as functions of our thinking that occur between stimulus, S, and R, response. See, it's our human consciousness, how we choose to respond. Nobody makes you do anything. It's all about how to respond. That basically operates in, in the stimulus response world. We're victims. We don't have any power. In the choice world, we are empowered. We are in charge of our own life. We are in charge of our feelings and our thinking. We own our power zone. In our language patterns, in the stimulus response world, is about you make me feel you, and it's excuses, it's blaming, it's transferring of responsibility, whereas in the proactive choice world, I statements, I feel this way. Remember when this happened between us, and I felt, I think, I feel, I choose. It's the world of taking personal responsibility. And then the neurological patterns, then again in the stimulus response world, defensive, reactive, passive aggressive, again the choice world, again the I statements, where it's not about blaming and pointing that finger. You see more upright posture, more smiles in the choice world. In the stimulus response world, the phenomenological experiences, again, the stimulus response world passively suffers the emotions and everything, mood states, external orientation. Whereas in the choice world, internal choices, managing the emotions and the states. State management is one of the big things that I focus on in Victorious Living System. Managing those states, recognizing the stimulus, recognizing the triggers, and creating new triggers, new anchors that will elicit or bring the desired state, the desired emotional mental state. So these are the things that the Victorious Living System is all about. We help you move from dreams to plans to reality. We are all about empowering and releasing your human potential through a heightened self-awareness. And I am your host right here on The World According to GUS. We hope you really have gotten something out of this edition. Even though I didn't have a guest, guests are wonderful and amazing, but I needed to do a little bit of teaching on my own today, and I hope it's been a true blessing for you. Catch us next time with Tammy Manzo right here on The World According to GUS.
We hope that you enjoyed the show. To hear more of these wonderful shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com, just look up our podcast genre list. You will see many shows archives there ready for listening. Don't forget to share these wonderful shows. And if you wish to be a guest or a host, or you have an organization that needs to be highlighted, contact us at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com. Bye for now.